Hello everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Monthly chart on Nvidia. As you can see right now, it's gone through a pretty parabolic run right here since 2023, extending in 2024, probably beyond, just like the time before that, and just like the time before that. The question at this point is, are we seeing any trend exhaustion? How far is it going to go up? Where are the resistance levels at, and where are the support levels at? So you know what to do. I don't think this rally is going to end anytime soon, to be honest with you. I'm going to show you some of the things here. I'm going to put the Ichimoku cloud here for you. Right now, price is way above cloud, and it's been way above cloud really since in 2014. We did have a Tenkan Kijun cross. Tenkan line is the red line right there. Kijun line is the blue line right there. We did have a bullish cross right around here, around May of 2023 or so. And since then, it's just been a very, very confirmed bull trend pushing up. When the cross happens like that, typically price would just keep using the Tenkan line, which is the red line right here, as support, and it's just going to use that as support to push the price all the way up. Just like the time before that. The last cycle, once you had the bullish cross right around here, it did flip the Tenkan line from resistance to support right before the bullish Tenkan Kijun cross happened. And after that, it really continuously to use, even during COVID, it tested both of these lines and it found support. And in a bull market, it's just going to continually to use the Tenkan line, the red line here, as support to push the price up further. When the price get a little bit too far away from the Tenkan, that's when you usually end up having a little bit of a correction. In this particular case, end up correcting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th month, it finally was able to use that support and push the price up higher. And even on the way up, it kept on testing the Tenkan line, kept on using the Tenkan line support to push up. Right around here, you start to have a breakdown, and then it tried to backtest, failed, and then it broke down. When it broke down, it went to below the Kijun, and it tried to backtest the Kijun, failed, and the price went down further until eventually it was able to really push back up above the Tenkan line right around here and push back up the Kijun, backtest the Kijun, and then you had a bullish cross and the price just kept on going up. And right now you're basically pushing the price up through this Tenkan line right here of the red, and right now we're getting a little bit far away from the Tenkan here. So that really tells me that maybe, just like around here, maybe we do need a little bit of sideways action for the Tenkan to kind of push up. Do I think that we need like 7 months for it to push up? No. I mean, I think the Tenkan line is already getting pretty up higher in terms of slope. I think it's probably going to catch up probably in a couple months or so. There's a possibility where Nvidia is going to kind of go sideways in a couple months. And there's also a very good rationale for that to happen. The reason why is because it's at a pretty important Fibonacci level right here. It basically, we draw from the last cycle high to the cycle low. Right now we're hitting the 3.618 Fibonacci extension level. As you can see, the price over here, when it got really, really far away from the Tenkan, it found resistance right here on a very important resistant level right here at 1.618. It went sideways really for months before it was able to wait for the Tenkan to kind of catch up and push the price even higher. And right now we're a little bit far away from that. And just like over here, I think the price kind of went a little bit too far, too fast. Found resistance at a key resistance level here at a 3.618 extension level. And it's waiting for the Tenkan to catch up. But I think it's going to catch up pretty fast. I think it's kind of very similar to when price just kind of went up very high right around here. And price can even wait for, it doesn't even have to necessarily touch the Tenkan and just keep on growing up higher. Eventually it will. Eventually it's going to drag the Tenkan up higher together with it. But eventually it's going to back test. I think right now we're hitting a little bit of resistance. We're getting a little bit too far away from the Tenkan. I can see price kind of hover around here for another month or two. Everybody starts to get a little bit bearish about it. And the Tenkan's going to catch up and the price is going to keep pushing up higher. The thing about it is, I think that's what the Ichimoku cloud is able to tell you at this parabolic phase, because we're not really going to backtest the cloud or anything. It's way too far, way too fast, and there's no sign that it's going to roll over anytime soon. I'm going to show you some of the other indicators to kind of look at that. But the other thing to also basically tell you the same thing is the Bollinger Bands. I think this cycle so far is going to be more bullish than the last cycle. The reason why I say that is because when things get really impulsive, I expect to see a Bollinger Band expansion that gets pretty parabolic. Now, the last cycle did have this kind of Bollinger Band expansion, but the expansion really wasn't that impressive, to be honest with you. The price did push up higher, but because it just didn't have that strength to kind of expand the Bollinger Band all the way down, unlike over here, it's really pushing and expanding Bollinger Band up further, unlike the cycle before last cycle where the price is just really parabolic, it just really starts like pushing the Bollinger Band, expanding all the way down. We didn't really get that in the last cycle, but this cycle I think we are getting that. So I think it's going to be most likely going to be pretty parabolic, just like the last one right here. And so far there's not really any trend exhaustion or anything like that I can see. The moving average, the 20-month moving average, is the basis of the Bollinger Band. Is pointing up. It's just starting to accelerate. I think it's starting to accelerate just like it did here and just like it did here. And I think it's probably going to have a pretty long runway, anywhere from 12 to 18 months, maybe even longer, based on what I'm seeing with the Bollinger Band expansion and also with the acceleration of the 20-month moving average. I think this thing's going to probably go on for quite some time. The question is always like, when is it going to end? When is it going to end? That's a very, very tough question to answer. Some of the indicator that could potentially help you is the RSI. Apparently I have to, actually, let me see. Yeah, I already have RSI being pulled up here. So some of the things to kind of look at is to look at the RSI to kind of tell you whether or not there's any trend exhaustion. So far there isn't. The RSI is still pointing up, and as you can see, things can stay overbought for a very, very long time. It was overbought on the monthly for about 2 years, from 2016 to 2018. It was overbought for pretty close to about a year and a half from 2020 to 2022. So I think things are just starting. I think it could potentially be pretty much overbought for a couple of years. You can start to see a little bit of trend exhaustion right here. If you look at the RSI, it's starting to make a little bit of a lower high here, even the price is making a higher high. This is what we call a bearish divergence, where RSI is really starting to show that there's a trend exhaustion, even though the price keeps on pushing higher. Now, the price can keep going up even higher after you have a trend exhaustion. It can keep pushing up. It just means that the bullish momentum is slowing. And as people keep on pushing up here, you can see that there's even further divergence. RSI is really, really making it very much of a lower high here, telling you that the trend is exhausting. The trend is exhausting. And sure enough, the trend got exhausted, and RSI just basically plummeted. And the price also plummeted over here. As you continue to build up a parabolic bull trend over here, as you can see, right around here with the 7 sideways candles, over here is a little bit overheated. Over here, it did make kind of like a little bit of an equal high on the RSI and make a slightly higher high on the price. This also, you can also consider that a little bit as like a relative bearish divergence too, because RSI really wasn't able to keep on giving you a little bit of an additional higher high to show you that yes, there's still a lot of momentum. The momentum has really kind of got lost here because RSI has been hitting resistance right here as price keeps going up. So eventually the trend's going to exhaust. Now, even with this relative bearish divergence, price can still keep going up. As you can see, price can still going up. So even if the trend's exhausting, that doesn't necessarily mean that the bullish trend is necessarily going to be exhausted. It's just kind of giving you an idea. Yes, it could happen anytime now. Maybe in a few months, maybe it gets exhausted. Who knows? But so far, there's really no pattern for that because you don't really get the any sign for bearish divergence here at all. RSI just made a higher high, and most likely it could continue to make a higher high. Who knows? Maybe we're like right around here, which is ridiculous. Look at like the move that it made after that for the next 2 years. I think there's a potential that we're right around here at the beginning of the bull cycle, like it look over here, where Bollinger Band just beginning to expand and expand all the way down. And this could be potentially a very, very bullish thing that's happening here with Nvidia, and I can see the potential going for really 2 years. The only problem though, short-term wise, as you can see for the Ichimoku cloud, I'm going to pull up the Ichimoku cloud here for just a second. As you can see, it's a little bit further away from the Tenkan line right here, right? And if you're going to see here the Bollinger Band, the price also really way outside upper Bollinger Band. As you can see, this price is also way outside of upper Bollinger Band the last month. What happens is usually price tends to want to stay within the Bollinger Band. If it doesn't, so for example, looking at this cycle right here, which I think is probably most similar to the current cycle from 2016 to 2018, 19, looking at the Bollinger Band, whenever price gets above the upper Bollinger Band, you're talking usually you're going to spend about a month or two kind of going sideways to get closer to the upper Bollinger Band. You're not just going to keep going up like that. You're going to want to touch the Bollinger Band, expand Bollinger Band up, allowing the price to go even higher. And even as price go up here, you can see generally it tends to respect the Bollinger Band. And after you have months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 above the Bollinger Band, price tends to cool down a little bit sideways before it keeps going. And that's exactly what it was doing. Eventually, when price starts to get a little bit, not as parabolic, not as bullish, you can see that the candle here, as the trend was kind of getting a little bit exhausted, you can tell that it's starting to kind of stay within the Bollinger Band, starting to kind of have like that rolling over kind of look, and sure enough, it rolled over. But right now, usually if it's up above the upper Bollinger Band, usually price tends to cool down about a month to like 2 or 3. It did that right around here, right? It was closing right above the upper Bollinger Band for months, and eventually had to cool down. After it cooled down, it did the very, very bullish thing again. Now it's way outside upper Bollinger Band again. I'm not surprised we end up having price cool down for the next couple months, getting everybody to kind of doubt whether or not the cycle is topping, which honestly I don't see any reason to really think that to be the case. But it gets everybody scared, everybody to kind of double guess. And there are going to be about a bunch of CNBC pundits. They're going to say, "Hey, is the trend over? Is this AI bubble going to pop?" Like I'm not really seeing exhaustion of the trend. I think this crazy thing can keep on going for a couple years. Now, in terms of the price target, I don't have a price target because if you're gonna have a very, very similar trend that goes from here going up, I don't even know where to draw the Fibonacci levels, to be honest. Like, do I draw it from up here going down to the bottom right there and then see whether or not it hits some of the upper parts of the Bollinger Band here? Sorry, the upper part of these Fibonacci extension levels here. I don't even know. I mean, like, once it gets above, it kind of got a little bit rejected in 1.618. Got back, tested the high right here, and just kept on going up, right? So, do I draw this over in the great financial crisis high here to the low down here? I could. If I draw that, you're going to get a little bit of a different picture here. You're going to get the price basically kind of hovering around between these Fibonacci levels around here, seeing a little bit of resistance here at 0.618, see a little bit of resistance right here in 0.5, and had some stuff to work for here at 0.786, kind of supported 0.618, and then just keep pushing higher. Push about the 2.618 level, you eventually just kind of get above of it, right? But I don't even know like where to draw the Fibonacci level in terms of expecting where price is going to go. I mean, I honestly think that the cycle is going to go a lot higher. It's going to go beyond 4.236. And I mean, I don't even know like what Fibonacci level to really draw above that. I mean, it's this thing's gonna keep going up higher because there's no sign for exhaustion. If I'm in this, which I do have a lot of exposure to, I'm just gonna let it run for like a year or two and see where it takes me. I'm gonna see whether or not there's any sign for any trend exhaustion based on RSI. If I start seeing something like this, then I'll be like, okay, maybe it is time to maybe start to take some money off the table or reduce my leverage, because you could potentially, these things are cyclical, you can potentially have a pretty brutal drop, all the way from like 72 to like 31. Oh no, after price ran up from like 4.5 to like 70, like, oh no, right? Same thing here, after price went from like 32 to like 330, price dropped back down to like 114. Oh no, next thing you know, it's like closer to 1,000. I could look at signs for these RSI, look for signs of exhaustion. And when I see exhaustion, I think I might be reducing my leverage at that point. And you never know because price could keep going up higher, and you just never know when exactly you want to exit. But I definitely would like to reduce leverage whenever I start seeing some signs of exhaustion, which right now there isn't any. There is no sign of exhaustion right now. I think this AI narrative, and I think this bull trend is going to keep going up for a while. I could show you the weekly, but what's that going to tell you? It's not going to tell you anything. It's in a full bull trend. It's going to keep up going higher. 20 over 50 over 100 week moving average. I think most likely the trend is just starting. I think we might be, right here. Same thing, right? I'm not seeing any sign for exhaustion here. I mean, I think price is probably going to end up getting a little bit higher. It's probably going to end up cooling down right around there. But I'm not really seeing any significant signs of exhaustion. On the weekly, you can start seeing signs of exhaustion earlier than the monthly. But even then, price could just keep going up on bearish diversions. I don't want you to think you see bearish diversions when it's time to sell. No, I mean, look at a higher time frame. Look for trend exhaustion on a higher time frame, and decide from there. But I wouldn't necessarily do that on a lower time frame. But yeah, what's weekly going to tell you? Not much. I'm like with Nvidia. I'm not even going to worry about the weekly. I'm just going to look at the monthly. Another thing about the weekly too, if you look at the Ichimoku Cloud, again, that's not going to tell you too much. If you look at the Bollinger Band, it's not going to tell you too much. I think the best way to monitor for trend change for Nvidia is going to be on the monthly. I'm going to keep riding this thing for about a year or two and see where it takes me. That's what I'm going to do. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what I think. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.